this is somewhat controversial. Somewhat controversial. So this is Pearly Things. She I don't know if she was on somebody's podcast or that she had them on hers, but she was talking about the dynamics between, parents who are no longer together. And let's see what she has to say.
Makes the decision to leave, she should pay for it. If you want to leave, that's totally fine, but you should pay to raise your kid.
Is it not his child as well?
And he should pay for the time. That's why I said 50-50 custody off the bat, no child support, no alimony.
So she gets to take on all of the childcare responsibilities, but he doesn't have to like pay anything. He doesn't have to have any
I didn't say all, I said 50-50 custody. He should have the kid half the time.
but doesn't have to pay any money towards it.
No, he should pay for the kid when the kid's at his house.
Okay, and so the majority of the time when the kid is at the mother's house, he doesn't have to be involved in any way financially.
No, she should pay for it. She has a job. Why should he have to pay for a kid?
He should
If
have
she
to,
can-
he should
she can-
support it.
What if she chose to have the kid and she chooses divorce? Why should she not have to pay for her own decision?
And
That's the thing. See, there it is. You want all the freedom to do whatever you want, but you don't want to have to pay for it.
Yo, so shout out to just Pearly Things. I used to watch quite a bit of her content. She always had these takes that are not the norm, and some of them were thought provoking. And I think that it's important that we have a difference of opinion sometimes. Sometimes we need somebody to uh, shift our consciousness sometimes, shake our consciousness so, we can see outside of the normal boxes that we live in. Um, so yeah, Kozo, what do you think about what Pearlie had to say?
Yeah, I always appreciate her takes and the places and spaces that she comes from in terms of her perspective because and I actually like that dynamic too. Two women talking together, one thinking one way, one thinking the other way, because most of the time you don't see that dynamic. They tend to pin men against women, and that always makes for a good conversation because that's how they like the design to be. Um, but yeah, in terms of what she said, I mean, I agree. Of course, anytime you have a co situation, a partnership in business, 50-50, you're taking care of this, I'm taking care of that. There's also should always be agreements on how we handle things, whether it's relationships, whether it's with children, whether it's in business. But family is a business. Raising children, that is a business. People don't understand that. And, if you can be an adult enough or you can be a good business person or boss, lady as they call themselves, then you should be able to manage and raise this situation to where it's fruitful for them and it's beneficial for you two involved because you guys are doing something together. A lot of times, certain women want to look at it from a perspective that's selfish because they feel like they lost something, you know, they feel like they didn't get something and it should be up to the man to take on that responsibility to make sure that they're fulfilled in some way, you know, and it's the relationship. They don't really normally think about the child. The child is the afterthought. The relationship failed. So, you know, I'll do whatever I can to get anything I can get back from that man because, you know, he didn't make it work or he didn't do everything he needed to do to make this last or to make me satisfied or to make me, have everything I wanted. And it's all about the man's fault, you know? And again, we go back to that word accountability, you know? And there's a meme going out there a lot of times, some women don't like to take accountability. And in those situations, yeah, it's always a finger pointing match. It's always that Spider-Man meme, like you. And I never wanted to be that way. And even my own situation, my own personal situation, it was always a fight against me. Like I was the one that did everything wrong or didn't do enough or could ever do enough to make things right. So I'm gonna make you suffer, you know, for what's failed between us in terms of a relationship. And even though if it wasn't my fault or the man's fault that the relationship failed, they're still gonna figure out a way to make it your fault, you know. So unfortunately, they're going to always say, "Hey, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I should only be doing this." And with the fact of reality, no, it's whatever we all can do collectively. What parts can you do well? What parts can I do well? And then we come to the table and see, okay, well, you can do that. Can you do this? Yeah, okay. And can you do this? And can you do that? And then it's all about a control mechanism too. It's like if I have the kid more, I can make him do this. If I have the kid more, then I can more child support of him. If I have the kid more and put him in the sports and activities, I can tell the judge that I need more money so he can pay me more money and I can do whatever I want with that money. The child won't be seeing anything. They'll get some stuff, but more than likely, they may be giving that money away to another man or giving it away to the club or trips.
Uh,
There's different situations. Every situation is different, of course, but just speaking on that clip, that perspective is one that you have to pay attention to because they're not listening to anything that's going to be cohesive.
right.
50-50 means you do your part and I do my part. What is your part? Or what is your part? What can you do if you can't do that? It's called communication. So you have to figure out how to balance the seesaw. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. Your side's going to go up, my side's going to go down. But as long as we keep bouncing on that seesaw, then we like both be up and be down, but we working together. And that's how it normally goes. That's how it should go. So, look like I'm freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can hear me though, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know if you want to leave and come back.
Yeah, I'll reset.
Okay. Man, shout out to you for that, cuz I wanted to say before I get started on my rant, shout out to you, Nash. Appreciate you. And we appreciate you again, Level Up Nation. Um, man, this conversation about who should take care of what, who should take care of the child, who should be responsible financially. This comes up, and this is one of those um, conversations that could bring about some anxiety, bring about some stress, bring about some anger, uh, because one feels like the other should handle the majority of these things. Um, and Cuzzo said a lot about it. I think that the dynamic of this thing. Let me see. Uh, no, sorry about that, y'all. I think it's important that one, the child has both parents in their life. You know, I would say, do your best as a male and female um, to be together to make it work. Uh, but if there's other circumstances, other, things that come up outside of, oh, he's not ambitious enough, like we talked about the lady who, had her husband was paying all the bills, she made more money, and she said she wanted him to do more. It not like that type of conversation, but um, if it becomes physical or something like that, then we, understand. Um, I think it you people have a little more leeway, but if it's just a misunderstanding, then try to get some understanding. Uh, because this child is the most important thing in the world from that point, and we forget about that. We think about ourselves. Oh, I'm not happy. The child didn't have a uh, the child didn't ask to be here, but we're being selfish, when it comes to those instances. And a lot of times it's not even about the money per se or who's taking care of the child. It's more about, I want to hurt that person, because they hurt me. And I know because I'll say a sort of a something similar, but I'm hurt. You broke my heart. You said that you was gonna love me, and you did something that I don't feel you love me, or I don't love you no more, for whatever reason. And now, not only do you want, a lot of times the man ends up paying, you know, uh, child support, but also the man gets time taken away from the child. And I could be wrong. What I'll say that I'll lead with this, but I could be totally off. Uh, but uh, if you ask 10 men out of 10, I could be almost certain that 9 of those 10 men, if you ask those men, uh, would you keep the mother out of their life, or would you uh, limit the time that the child spends with the mother if you had custody? This is just in my opinion. I think 9 men out of 10 will say no. They wouldn't try to restrict time. A lot of them won't even ask for money because I think from a man standpoint, men believe that and understand that the child needs both parents. The child needs both parents. It's important that the child sees both perspectives. Guess what? Nurturing and caring and all those things, like I can't do that like a woman. And there's certain things a woman can't do like a man. If it's a son, you could, base your opinion on what you think a man should be, but you can't fully teach a man how to be a man. I saw a woman out there teaching her son how to like uh rush the passer. So like she was down in a 3-point stance playing the offensive lineman and trying to show her son how to get to the quarterback. I thought that was dope. But then you have to ask, like, hey, that I'm not saying that she can't do it. And she looked like she was doing great. But the question is posed like in those situations, what else is she trying to do on her own? What other things that a man should be doing is she doing on her own? Maybe that was just maybe that was just question that that uh I was asking. Um, I don't know. Maybe it was just me. I don't know, what am I doing? There we go. Maybe it was just me. But I think in these scenarios, like when you have women uh, who think like that, um, it's at a detriment to the kid. And I know Jamel kind of said it himself, but that's what's been happening. That's why you get the kids that are on social media too long, and now you're suing. Because you don't have anybody checking in. Um, I don't know, cause I can't see. Let's see. Sorry about that, y'all. Oh, there we go. Yeah, switch to his phone, huh?
Yeah, man. You gotta roll with the punches.
I got two phones. Yeah, yeah.
My laptop was on the fritz for some reason, but It's
Uh,
happened this time too. I think after 5, my place of business be telling me, "Hey, all right, time to go home.
like,
Time to go home."
okay. Well, I was just saying, if you ask 9 men, if you ask 10 men, 9 men would say, like, "Yeah, we wouldn't withhold time from the mother if we had custody." What do you think about that? 'Cause
No, I think it's 10 out of 10. I don't think it's 9 out of 10. No
okay,
man, no,
just
no
wanna
man the whole time away from the mother because we come from women. We come from women, and most of the time, if you grew up, with a mother that you love, or even if you grew up, with a mother that you didn't get enough love, you would always want to not impart that on your child or your seed or your son or your daughter. So I think it's definitely a 10 out of 10. Because what benefit would that garner the child?
not at all. And so why do you think that one side understands that, the other side doesn't? Or some of them, 'cause I don't know if that's all of them, because it's not women are not a monolith, but it's a large amount of them. So why do you think it works that way?
Well, because women can be vindictive and they're emotional, so they're thinking it from a feeling standpoint, and a man is logical. He thinks with his head, and he understands that that's not beneficial for the child to keep them away from the mother. You need both parts. In order for a child to be, balanced per se, you want to have equal parts.
100%.